Hello, and you are listening to FPcast, the official podcast Fruitless Pursuits, where we bullshit about the week in pop culture. I'm Luke.
And I'm Jacinta.
And this week we're talking about...
Movies, television, collectibles, video games, comics, books, board games, and more.
USA! Happy Independence Day! July 4th. How is the timing for this? And what a coincidence that they happened to put out an Independence Day movie around about the same time.
Yeah, and what a coincidence that we weren't able to see it opening weekend. So instead we saw it just in time for actual Independence Day. Wow, it's just like the universe is just, everything's just syncing up. Like, you know, a group of women in their menstrual cycle, everything is syncing up to just make things work so efficiently, and here we are.
Great day for America, celebrating their independence from, English language, common sense.
The metric system.
Yeah. No, look, seriously though, we do tease, and in the past, if you listen to our episodes, we may have made a little bit of fun at America in the past. We've given some gentle ribbing, we've mocked their culture, we've mocked their assault rifles and all those other, and their lack of healthcare and their very piss poor minimum wage and all those other things, the fact that they're turning into a third world country, all that stuff. But it's not cool, I don't think, to do that today on Independence Day, on July 4, on this big celebration. So I was thinking that maybe for a change, we could actually talk about the things that we really genuinely love and admire about America. So,
okay.
I'm going to get us started. That was British. That's British. I'm thinking of the British version. Hang on.
No.
Daisy Ridley, where's she from?
She's English too. Yeah.
Kermit the Frog.
But being that he is a frog, is he not a neutral citizen? Does he have...
Came from a swamp.
Yeah. Did they specify where the swamp
I think the swamp was...
Yeah, like it could have been anywhere.
Anyway, look. Good going, America. Shoot a gun in the air for us. Spray and pray. For your great nation.
Yeah, shoot some fireworks, have a outdoor cookout or whatever it is that your people do. Have half a bison on the grill.
I love that American friends have genuinely asked me before, do you celebrate Independence Day?
Oh, really? Oh, that's cute.
That's cute, isn't it?
That's really cute. Actually, ironically, we actually kind of do. Like, a lot of the bars, the other day was Canada Day, and a lot of the bars were having, like, Canada Day celebrations, and they will be having, I think we're recording this on the Saturday, there will be a lot of Saturday night, July 4th parties, not on July 4th. Because we don't get the day off.
But it'll be so divorced from the actual what it's about.
Yeah, obviously, because we're still under the clutches of British rule.
And, and also, I've been asked a few times by American friends, do you guys celebrate Thanksgiving? Yeah, we give thanks that we're not American. So, whoop it up, you wild cowboys. Yes, over there.
The original, it's not called Brexit, because you're not Britain. It's like Amexit. You had your Amexit from Europe.
Amexit. Something like that. Anyway, we did go and see Independence Day 2, Independence Day, Resurgence. So, what better film to use as a basis to talk about the...
the American values of today.
Naive, world policing... trigger-happy, whooping at explosions, bit of American slice of American culture that we saw. And there's a bit of an odd one this week, because there's not a lot of news. I don't know if that's because we're rapidly heading towards SDCC, And a lot of companies are saving up stuff for that.
Yeah, there has been a lot of toy announcements though. Funko have been rolling out their their pop vinyls and stuff, the exclusives they're going to be having.
Yeah.
There's some interesting stuff in there.
See the Labyrinth ones? They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
They're not exclusives, but they're new.
They are.
And they're fancy.
Speaking of new, we have been hunting down these Warcraft mystery minis, and we just managed to get you a Garona today.
I got my Garona, and I finally
much hunting.
got my Harley Quinn too, my Margot Robbie regular clothes Harley Quinn,
Yes.
which the amount of these things on my table show how unsuccessful I have been at grabbing that one.
I still haven't got a little Dominic Cooper yet, but I will continue my hunt.
You will endeavour. So, with not much news on, should we just get into Independence Day and see where it takes us? And then, of course, we do have 2 very epic episodes of Game of Thrones to catch up on.
Yeah.
To close that season in our Fuck Yeah Game of Thrones segment. And anything else that shows up along the way, we'll be sure to take advantage of it.
Maybe we should just start talking about Downton Abbey again.
Downton Abbey. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Oh, God.
I miss it. Where are the Downton Abbey mystery minis? Can you imagine that?
No, we were talking last weekend about what if, they continued Downton Abbey, but in, anime form.
Yeah, I think...
Downton anime.
Downton anime would be wonderful, especially full animated series adaptation. It could be even all the original storylines, but someone...
just in anime form, because I would love to see
So they did manga BBC Sherlock.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'd love to see, because Barrow has very sharp cheekbones anyway.
Yeah.
Just in anime form, he couldn't even walk into a room without just cutting the curtains. The Dowager Countess would have a hat cut in half. It would just be just anarchy.
Every time someone uses the wrong spoon, Carson goes Super Saiyan. Little lightning bolts coming out of his eyes. And he's, and every time any man sees Mary and those twinkles in her beautiful eyes, just blood would start spurting out of her nose instantly.
She'd lift up her skirt and it'd be like in one of those cartoons where you just see black and some blinking eyes.
Oh, yeah. Lures in the young sailor. Yeah, so that's a lot of fun. That would be really good. But no, unfortunately, we're going to talk about things that actually have been made, like Independence Day 2. Now, look, let's assume that we're going to be reasonably critical about this film. But that said, I'm certainly not complaining that it is what it is. It was advertised as such. It's a sequel to a film that had certain qualities. And we knew exactly what we were getting when we signed up for this morning. So far be it from us to be complaining and going, oh, it should be a different movie. No, of course it shouldn't.
It was exactly the movie it should have been.
And when we bought a ticket to this movie, we signed a contract knowing that this is what we were going to get. We're not surprised by the content of this thing. So I want to be really clear on that. It's not one of those things, because I hate that when people go to movies knowing exactly what kind of movie it is and then go, oh, that was really dumb. They should have done this, or why couldn't they have done this, or this person should have... It's like, you knew what it was. It's like that fable with the snake, and the person rescues the snake, and then the snake bites them, and they're like, oh, why did you bite me, snake? And the snake's like, hey, you knew I was a snake. And they're like, oh, yeah, no arms or legs. I get it.
Now I'm going to die because my blood's going to coagulate inside my body.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
So this film's not going to kill anybody.
No.
Unlike aforementioned Fable Snake. But it is pretty dopey. It's not, massively... in-your-face stupid. I'm sure there are stupider films.
Yeah, there's something about... it kind of did grate on me a bit for the first, 20 minutes or so before things started to get rolling, because it was a little bit kind of... just sort of, overly earnest and all that sort of shit. But it sort of took a turn, and it felt like it really was... This is a movie aware of itself.
I don't know. Yeah, it almost fell into self-parody a bit in that third act.
Yeah, because it's not a comedy, so it can't be, meta, some of those kind of sequel comedies are. But I did feel like in some scenes they were very much playing on that really kind of over-emotional, tropey kind of thing.
It's definitely a relic. It's a throwback to, even though the effects and everything, of course, are modern day, it's a throwback to that sort of dumb 90s, even 80s action movie. And the premise, of course, is very, very simple. Aliens are attacking again. It's been 20 years since the last movie. Humans have harnessed some of the technology, and the aliens are back bigger and badder than ever. But there's this weird sort of dichotomy there where I felt like the film in some ways is so much bigger, and even the trailer, they keep separating that line of Goldblum saying it's bigger than the last one. And while the scope and the spectacle is big, and even though it's got probably a dozen main characters to keep track of, there's something very small about it as well. Because
Well, it's the same in the first one, really. It's just the same sort of blueprint.
You begin to realise that all the big spectacle shots are devoid of humans. So the actors, when you're seeing them, they're in rooms or cockpits and things like that. And there's only a couple of them, and they run into each other all the time. And then the actual big, like, city destruction shots are actually quite devoid of people or real human impact. So you're kind of watching humans almost put on a play while cutting to flashes of really
explosions,
big stuff. So in some ways it felt very small, and it is too earnest. I mean, this is a simple aliens coming in and attacking thing, which could be elevated with good characters. And really...
It does suffer for not having Will Smith back.
The writing is so bland. And so cliche and so trope-filled and goes in such obvious directions, like the leaden kind of, let's pull at your heartstrings here, then the sort of, and here's a punchline for comedic effect from the wacky character just before we cut to another scene. Pretty bad, and so much exposition at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Like, really...
So what has everybody been doing for 20 years? Let's tell you in great detail.
Play a drinking game while every time somebody, clunkily explains something from the last 20 years, have a drink. Because they are telling each other their personal histories. It would be like me saying, because you've been doing this for 3 or so years now, and we've been hosting this thing for every day and every week, and you'd be like, yeah, I know, I was there. But it just continually happens.
Well, I mean, I was physically here all the time, but,
not mentally.
Not mentally all the time.
Checked out. But, yeah, so the characters are a problem. I think Goldblum's the most fun, but it's not because his character's particularly well written. It's just because he doesn't give a shit about what he's doing. Like, he's able to commit but keep a distance from the material. So it's just, he's so likable that I just can't imagine how he would suffer from this. But everybody else is just awful.
Oh, I liked, even though Bill Pullman was clearly sleepwalking through this whole movie, I did kind of, I enjoyed him.
It's very ham-fisted, that role.
The sort of his kind of storyline resolution was just like, oh, fucking okay.
No,
good.
I did too, actually. And also, to be fair, I enjoyed Liam Hemsworth. I think he was fine. He's a very blandly written character, but he seems to be having fun with it. I wish that he had just been Australian instead of American, because
there's some stuff that he does that would suit an Australian character specifically.
When he I don't think this is a spoiler because I won't provide any context other than he literally shows the aliens his dick.
Yeah, he gets his dick out and basically, like, pisses on them. Yeah.
To taunt the aliens.
Yeah. It's so like, mate, that is the most Aussie thing that you could do.
Pretty Aussie way to deal with things. So.
Oh, I need to provide a distraction. Quick, I'll whip my dick out.
Oh, have a look at me, Dodger, you alien bastards.
Yeah. And even though, yes, the movie did feel quite long and it wasn't particularly, it was pretty tropey and cliched, I would be lying if I said that there weren't sequences that had me grinning like a giddy schoolgirl. There was some cool shit in there. Like, nothing iconic, really, that you're gonna look back like in the first movie, but there's some stuff that just had me giggling to hell.
And yeah, it's not a quotable film.
No.
Like, it's not like there's no
my favorite
cultural
line
impact,
is
there?
the president, and something happens, and she goes, "Christ Almighty!" And I was like, "Yes,
Lines
that's
like
the best one."
things just got real.
Really real.
And great big doors. Yeah.
I did like the line that was in the trailer. It's the 4th of July. Let's show them some fireworks.
Yeah,
I like that line.
Like, how does that line exist in our postmodern world without, like, is it written to be ironic or satirical? Because that character, this is Will Smith's character's son, says that completely straight-faced. And it's followed by, like, people whooping and hollering and being just really, like...
Yeah, well, that's a scene that I really loved. And I really
energized
thought...
by it.
Yeah, and that I really thought that the movie is... I was going, okay, the movie is doing this on purpose. The movie knows. Like, he gave that line, everyone's flying out of the hangar, and there's people being like, whoop, whoop, behind them. And I was like, yes! I love this! It's awful, but I love it.
Yeah, because
it's like movie just junk food. Just like, this is a big plate of chips. Just give me that. Let me shovel this into my face.
Yeah, because the values are really messed up, and I know that I've been joking a lot about Americans and their love of assault rifles and how it makes them feel safe and how they need that. And you could very easily say, well, that's a really tasteful and awful thing to joke about. But there's a point where you sort of stop having, not empathy, but maybe sympathy. There's a point where you kind of go, not about any specific incident, but you just think, like, this is what you want. Like, any thread about this stuff, there's going to be someone saying, no, we should have more guns, and this is our freedom, and etc. And it's like, if that's what you've chosen, that's kind of what you got to live with. So, and it's interesting watching this, like, film from 2016 and just seeing how those values are still really ingrained in something like this. Like,
hey, this gun is cool. I want to shoot that gun.
Yeah, like, this guy
okay.
who's never touched a gun, who then, like, kills some things, and then he's like, oh, do you reckon I can keep this gun? It's like, what? Yeah, so what, you can shoot your wife in the face next time you have a disagreement? Or so you can take out a school? Like, why do you need this gun, lawyer man, or whoever he was?
I can't remember what he was. He was just a dude.
So there's this, like, absolute glee in we're shooting guns and we are killing things and we're gonna kick ass. They love ass. They love to kick it. The idea of kicking someone in the bum is a really...
A lot of reference to taking things from behind.
Really big driving force in American culture. They want to just kick things. They want to kick people. And even our sort of hero character, this Will Smith's son, who's got a sort of disagreement with Hemsworth, does the same thing that happens in many movies, sees him for the first time since the incident and punches him in the face.
Doesn't say anything to him, just punches him in the face.
And the movie just goes, yeah, that's what you should do. Punch people in the face.
That is the resolution to your problems.
Yeah, and later on he even says, I don't regret punching you in the face. And it's like, okay, but... like, is that a character I'm supposed to have any respect for? That he has no control? He's supposed to be like a military person, someone that's...
Yeah, and they're supposed to be working together for this common good. And
So is he going to punch his kid in the face when his kid does something wrong? Is he going to punch his wife in the face? Like, where does it stop? Like, I just don't get it. Like, and those things, that sort of really, like, animal problem solving... is all through this thing. It's
but again, as you said,
gross.
it's like an 80s, 90s throwback movie, which, look, people should be picking out these things in these movies and going, hey, these are the kind of problematic things from these movies of a different era, not kind of celebrating them.
No, it's funny because I think there's movies that do, show far worse things. And people go, oh, this is something, I don't know if we should watch this, or this is a bit problematic. But it's not naturalized. It's shown as bad behavior. Like, a bad character doing bad things, I'm fine with. But when it becomes naturalized and just so, like, normalized, like, this is a way to behave. This is the kind of feeling that we should all have. I just find crazy. Like, when, in something that bland, where the hero characters... who are supposed to be sort of above reproach and brave and heroic and
like
save the world.
Like, he's the leader. Like, he's the best one of them all.
Yeah, and they're not multifaceted characters. They're not, like, flawed people, really. They're just... they sort of
They're just Barbie dolls shifted in positions.
They're all ciphers. So...
Though I did love in the White House, there was that big painting of Will Smith in the White House. Like, that's the most Will Smith we got in that whole movie.
I'd be very curious to see a movie like that if they had actually been able to get some genuine character and get some genuine like some great lines and stuff in there. Like, it would make such a difference because, I mean,
the whole appeal of the first one is that, I mean, obviously you're caring about what's happening to the Earth and thinking, holy shit, there's this, alien force and how are they going to stop it? But you gave a shit about those characters. Like, you cared about Jeff Goldblum's character and Will Smith's character and the pilot guy and whoever. This one, like, I forgot half of them were still around. Like, they would turn up again. I'd be like, oh yeah, that guy.
So when you talk about genre films, story really has been secondary, even in the ones that we all kind of like. I mean, Force Awakens is a very simple story, but it's a story that's been told many times before, but the characters are so interesting and dynamic and the lines are good. And same with something like Civil War. The story's nothing special. And, it has that problems that a lot of these films have. You get into the third act and you kind of force in a conflict and everything, but you're so invested in the characters and the situation and the way it's presented. You care about
how they're going to resolve it.
You go for it. It's fine. Like, you roll with it. And I feel like we're getting to this point where there's no excuse. And I think that we also have to accept genre movies for what they are. Like, Ghostbusters is less than 2 weeks away. I'm looking forward to it. But I also am thinking it's not going to surprise anyone. It's not going to be this movie that suddenly changes the way you think about Ghostbusters. It's going to operate on all the familiar beats from that original movie. It's going to remind you of what Ghostbusters is, and hopefully the characters will be interesting enough, just like Force Awakens, where you go, great, we're back. Now what happens? But it's not going to be... I just can't see it being this movie that's going to blow everyone away. But again, we're always coming back to that.
And then if it's not a movie that's a big cultural revolution, or the crying man babies will come out and say, well, we won, like, it was shit.
Yeah, they want everything to change their life.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, it's more about going, well, this is a 3 or 4 star movie, but it's not a half or a 1 star movie. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. So I'm definitely looking forward to that, and I'm doubling down on this female Ghostbusters. I've decided, fuck everyone. I'm gonna get Gillian Holtzman added to my tattoo arm.
Okay.
Of characters. I don't care if she's the Jar Jar Binks of the fucking movie.
Okay.
I just think that I like Ghostbusters. Better than having like little Dan Aykroyd sitting on my arm, right? I may as well have Kate McKinnon.
Yeah.
She's a lady. In the 30s. Awesome. You
can have like a little scroll that says booyah, heavy on the boo.
Maybe. Don't care. Well, look, put it this way. I've got Jubilee on my arm. If you can show me something good with Jubilee in it, I would love to read it. I welcome anything. I've never read anything good with Jubilee in it. Never seen anything good with Jubilee in it. I just like the character. I think it's cool. Yeah. He's getting added to my character arm. Fuck is all. And it's because of the principle. And no one's ever going to see it anyway, because it's not like I walk around in a wife beater, unlike, I bet, Will Smith's fictional son.
Yeah, we've got a gym across the road. You could go and get, like, hella ripped and just have the guns out all the time. Sun's out, guns out.
Yeah, I might do that, actually. Yeah. I changed my mind. So everyone's going to see it, and if they don't like it, fuck them in their face. So, So Independence Day.
Yeah, it sets up for a sequel. I would happily go and watch a sequel.
Oh, shit. Look, I would as well. Yeah, we've come this far. It's just one of those things, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know what? I'm sure we will see a sequel. Like, it seems that all these movies that China pumps a shitload of money into does very well.
Yes, which is the other point. Clearly, China has pumped money into this movie because there is a prominent Chinese character called Rain, played by Angela Baby, and there's a lot of talk about China and Chinese flags and a Chinese general, some people speaking Chinese without
and I think it's
subtitles.
I don't know what city it was that they first go to, but it's pretty much the first city to be destroyed
And
Visiting China.
Yeah, and there was that thing where the Chinese characters were almost shot a little differently. Like, there was just something about the filmmaking, the storytelling that felt a bit different. And the best example I can think of is Iron Man 3, when there were those extra sequences shot for China, which had some Chinese actors, prominent Chinese actors in them, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of that. It's funny how Independence Day, despite being... I mean, it was a huge thing at the time. I remember it was the first midnight screening I went to.
I think it was probably one of the first really big blockbusters I saw as a kid.
Yeah, and it was really huge. And I remember people being genuinely dissatisfied with it then.
Oh,
like,
okay.
people thought it was a dumb movie.
Yeah, right.
And that it was like a really sort of hokey movie. And even then were laughing about the politics of it. Because Clinton was president, and this idea of like Clinton cramming his pasty white thighs into a fighter jet to go off and save the world was pretty comical. So even then, there was quite a lot of derision here about the whole jingoistic American thing, and this is like 5 years before everything changes.
Yeah.
With 9/11, so it's a sort of far more naive America, I think. And I think so many of the problems that we're facing, it's facing now, are because of, 9/11 and that fear that's never really
gone away.
But so it was kind of culturally significant in the sense that it was like a big spectacular. Like, it was really a big wow, I've got to see this movie, which the sequel's not anymore. I mean, look at this year and everything that's out there and all the things that people are doing. It's very hard for it to have those wow moments, and because it can't trade on just that, you really notice those other shortcomings.
Yeah, well, there's been that. I guess there's probably been that shift over the last 20 years now that the special effects are getting... Well, the technology's improved to make special effects perhaps easier in some ways, and so everything has blockbuster elements instead of, just a couple of movies a year.
Yeah, and do you reckon that, like, much like Avatar, you know how there was that criticism of Avatar going, well, yeah, like, because of when it hit and it was one of those first big 3D things, and it did do well, but at the same time, it hasn't left anything behind culturally.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like Independence Day and that world is like that as well. It's not like you see toys of those aliens and, there's been some stuff made, like some pop vinyls and stuff to tie in with this movie. But it's not like that stuff has been around and kind of resonated in the same way as, say, like Aliens.
Yeah.
And
I
Aliens,
feel that, like, it's more...
It cribs Aliens a lot. Like, there's a lot that's ripped off Aliens in that design. There's not a lot that feels original about the film.
I feel like with Independence Day, it's more a lot of that imagery as opposed to...
It's the White House being destroyed from
White
above.
House and the the spaceship coming out of that kind of cloud of everything, and then the people on top of the building going, "We welcome you," and then we're blowing up. Like, all of that stuff is like, that's really iconic, and that I will remember that forever. There's not much... Actually, there is some stuff from this movie that I will remember, but probably not in the same way.
It definitely sort of set up that template of those kind of films where you have a whole group of cast members and they're usually all sort of on the move because of the disaster and someone has to get back to their family and there's some like really mild shorthand personal problems and relation problems.
There's a lot of those in the early 2000s.
That are being like, sort of seeded along through this destruction stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's like a film of a bygone era. But look, as we said, something to do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's probably... It's not the worst thing you could see, and I imagine there is some absolute drivel coming up for school holiday time.
Yeah. I feel like we're kind of getting into a bit of a heavy sort of movie period, right? Heavy
Heavy period.
A very heavy period.
See, everything has synced up.
Yeah.
Not
Doing very well today.
We ate kind of like some bad food, and then we were all sort of sleepy, which is no different really to any other day that we record.
No,
but
like, is there any time when we're like, oh yeah, this is the perfect storm?
we're zinging, yeah.
You know, yeah, there's no better podcast from us, I don't think.
No, it's either we're kind of like a bit sleepy because we've seen a movie and had junk food, or we're like sort of overtired, and maybe that propels us into like the next level of excitedness. And I can't even remember what I was talking about now.
I was talking about the heavy period.
Oh, yeah, I don't think it was in relation to periods.
There's BFG.
Oh, yeah, there is BFG. There's
I'd like to see that.
Ghostbusters Suicide Squad isn't far away either.
Swiss Army Man.
Yeah, and I'm keen to see Tarzan. I haven't read many... Well, actually, I have heard some noise that it's not wonderful, but I'm still pretty keen to see that.
Yeah. It's got Margot Robbie in it. Oh, yeah. I'm sure we've sat through worse.
Yeah, we have. We have, mate.
And we will again.
And we will again.
Yeah. What I miss is getting silly. Like, there's just some podcasts where I feel really silly. And I just, like, my neurons are firing. And I'm just zing-slinging.
Yeah.
I'm the zing-slinger. Like Spider-Man.
I think it's still
if I was bitten by some of those wind-up joke teeth. That were radioactive.
I think it's still kind of a bit of con hangover. Like,
Do you think we were too harsh on the con because of our state of mind and just being tired?
I don't know. I think it was us. Like, it wasn't so much the convention, it was us. And definitely my kind of about the convention is the fact that I feel that even though I don't like have to do heaps of work, I kind of feel like really like, oh, I have to get this done and do this and do that. And so it feels like a lot more of an obligation. And on the Sunday, I did sort of go, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to cut out this entire section of my... And it was just so freeing and it was so wonderful. I'm like, maybe I just need to not do that anymore and I'll really enjoy these conventions.
Because we got personal stories on our Facebook page from friends who really had a great time, were able to...
Yeah, as we said, your own adventure.
People. It is. That's what it is, isn't it? You got to find your adventure, and they found their adventure. They found that thing that had meaning to them. And had a really great time, and I'm kind of jealous that I wasn't able to do it because when you can, it's great. It really is great. It just takes that person or something to meet or have that
and I was really glad. I got all my stuff that I'd bought together and took a photo, and there wasn't as much stuff as I thought, and I was like, oh, thank God I didn't because I think at Comic-Con I just was like, on the Sunday, I was like, fuck it, that Han Solo statue's still there, I'm just going to buy that fucking thing, and I just bought all this dumb shit, and it's still all in its boxes, haven't done anything with it, and I'm like, ugh. Yeah, regret buying.
Those early supernovas, I would buy just crazy amounts
Didn't you buy that stupid, portal gun or something?
Oh, no, that was rad, though. I love that portal gun. I got my money's worth of the portal gun because I used it in quite a few photo shoots.
Didn't you sell it for not very much at a toy fair?
No, I got a pretty good deal on it, okay. Yeah. I think I got 100 for it. And I bought it for 150.
Oh, yeah.
And I photographed naked models with it.
Okay.
So, it's a method to my madness sometimes. Anyway, you're not a Portal fan. Like, Portal's awesome.
Okay.
You know, that's something I was thinking about. Like, Chell from Portal on my character arm. But half of her on one side going into a portal and then coming out on a different part of the arm through the other portal. That's pretty good. I'm
so
sure,
you'd have just the butt on one side and the head on the other side? Okay.
Just presenting. Yeah.
Okay. That's not creepy at all.
Like in the Animal Kingdom. Well, look, this is why... this is another reason why I'm getting Holtzman. Is because I really, out of the 2016 characters, my other choice would be Margot Robbie Harley Quinn. And that is going to be creepy. That's going to be the blonde in the hot pants.
It's going to be a little baby in hot pants.
Whereas Gillian Holtzman, you know, that's class. That's a name you can depend on. That's someone who's going out there and protecting our city.
You want to make sure that the artist gets all the Ghostbusters detail down, otherwise it's just a baby in a poo brown suit.
Well, I don't know if the suit's grey or brown. The figures are brown, but the latest poster and stuff is grey.
I think they look brown.
No, the new poster's definitely grey.
You're right.
Yeah, and I've seen various... So I don't know if they change.
Oh, maybe.
Like for the final sequence, for the third act.
You're right.
But, or it could be just the lighting. But yeah, it does change. I got an idea for a Ghostbusters comic. It's 8 panels. I was going to draw it, but I'm too lazy. So maybe if I describe it, someone
else can do it.
We'll draw it and put it on Facebook. Okay, very simple. Okay, so here we go.
All right.
So, panel 1. If you want to put it in a 9-panel grid, just put a first panel that just says a Ghostbusters comic, written by Luke Milton, drawn by, insert your name here.
Yep.
There you go.
Cool.
Okay. So, it's this woman surrounded by ghosts. They're tormenting her, these spirits. A couple of them. She's in a house and she's freaking out. Ghosts are attacking, right? Second panel, her flicking on the radio. Like, close up of the knob. Click, radio,
Yep.
Third panel, coming out of the radio, it says, when it comes through your door, unless you just want some more, think you better call Ghostbusters. Fourth panel, picking up that phone. Grabbing the phone. Fifth panel, pausing, lowering the receiver, thinking. Sixth panel, thinking, when it comes through your door. Seventh panel, thinking, unless you just want some more. Final panel, the same as the first one, with her running around getting terrorized by ghosts. Because she decided she wanted more. Because that's an option in the song. Good, huh?
It's certainly something.
What a thigh slapper!
Yeah.
Oh, my side just split! And a ghost came out. The ghost of the popcorn that I ate at the cinema. It might actually be just actual popcorn. White, fluffy.
Just coming out of you like taters out of Sean Astin.
Out of Sean Astin.
Yeah.
Scared the taters out of me. All right. Well, it seems a bit early to get into Fuck Yeah Game of Thrones, especially when we give people a chance to eject from the podcast. But
maybe
we missed a couple.
Yeah, we could. Well, it'll still be spoilery. We could talk about Orange is the New Black a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. That'll be spoilery too.
It will be, yeah.
I don't know, but let's just say that the new season of Orange is the New Black, season 4, came out a couple of weeks ago. I think it was brilliant. I think it was a really great return to form.
Yeah, it's like, as far as compared to other, obviously, TV dramas, it is definitely a level above. I found it to be a huge downer. I watched the last couple of episodes on the same day I watched the Game of Thrones finale, and that was a little bit much for me. I was very upset that day.
I felt it needed it, though, because the third season was too light for me. It was getting too sort of comedic. You had Crazy Eye Suzanne writing her stories, and it was all enjoyable, but it didn't have that sort of drama hook. And I didn't feel it was as issue-based either. I thought there was just too relaxed, and there wasn't that sense of dread. And that's one of those things that when I first started watching Orange is the New Black, you see the world through Piper's perspective. And it's quite intimidating. You think of her like struggles with Red and how menacing even Red was. The Red Menace, that was her. And you think, she could be in danger. But then by the time it got to season 3, it was like, I know these characters. They all know each other. They like each other. Everyone's having fun. The danger had gone. And the danger crept back into this season. And I think it was a really good mix of... and it takes a while to get going. Like, I think first few episodes are light on the drama. Like, I wasn't going, I got to see what happens next.
Yeah, I watched the first 6 and I was quite bored and I stopped watching it for nearly another week.
I certainly wasn't bored. Like, I love the characters and I love the writing, but it definitely picks up speed. And, I think it was a real success. So if it's something you've never checked out, give it a look. You've got to, like any TV show, got to sit with it a while because it goes through a lot of different phases, I suppose.
Yeah, and they're only relatively short seasons. What are they, 13 episodes?
Yeah. Same as like a
huge
time Daredevil or something.
Yeah.
And I just love to be able to binge. There's so many shows at the moment which I'm not watching because I just think... The exception of Game of Thrones, which I always remember is on and are eager to watch, I will just lose it. Like, I'll just stop watching because I'll forget, and then I won't be able to get back. I'll be like, oh shit, I can't remember what happened in the, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I've been a little bit like that with, actually, Preacher. I haven't watched Preacher for a couple of weeks. And Clever Man, despite being very excited about those first 2 episodes, I haven't watched it for about 3 weeks, and I'm like, shit, I really need to catch up because I forget to watch it on a Thursday night when it's on TV, and then I think, I need to catch that up, and then I just kind of don't get around to it, which sucks because I've heard it's like, I've got other friends who are not kind of really pop culture interest sort of friends messaging me going, have you watched Clever Man? What do you think about it? And they're like, yeah, I really, really like it. So if, everyone's enjoying it, then I should probably watch it too.
Yeah, like season 2 of Fargo. I was watching Fargo when it came out, and then I just missed it, and then forgot about it, and then suddenly it's like, oh, you're 6 weeks out, and you're like, I don't remember what happened. And it's like, I was enjoying the shit out of it, but I don't want to start again. But at the same time, I don't even know what episode I'm up to. So, bums. I guess I could just read the synopsis on
You could.
Wikipedia or something.
Yeah.
There you go. You'll solve my problem in a second. I should just shut up. Why do we even talk about these things when the internet can solve all our problems in mere moments? Let's talk about Game of Thrones.
Sure.
So, we're about to do spoilers for the last 2 episodes of Game of Thrones season 6?
Yes.
Yep. And so if you don't want those spoiled, and I'm sure you've all watched them anyway because everybody was talking about it, then bugger off now. Thanks for listening. Go to fruitlesspursuits.com. Book Was Better should be back this week. I've actually got a new schedule together. It should be Ants with Paris, and that should be fun. Ants with a Z. Woody Allen. Whoa, look out. And Ants in Your Pants. And, you can find our Patreon and our Facebook page. Come and talk to us about stuff, etc., etc. And Game of Thrones spoilers begin...
Yeah.
So we kind of missed the boat on Battle of the Bastards. We didn't talk about it because of Supernova.
Yeah.
And, that seems like old news after our current thing. But holy shit, it was a great episode.
It was. And I really loved all the memes that came out after it because there was a picture of, it was like a picture of Rickon and it was like, what's Rickon's favourite band? And the answer was One Direction.
Yeah. Oh, look, I'm not
I was watching that and I was like, Rickon, you've been trained by your father and your brothers to fucking fight since you were a tiny baby. Surely you know not to run. Like, I understand that it was a very stressful situation. He maybe wasn't thinking, he was panicking. He just wanted to get to Jon as quick as he could. Just run in a serpentine, bro. Like, I know that Ramsay's really good with a bow and arrow, but... He's even better if you're running in a straight line.
Increase your chances, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, zigzag, roll, run backwards even.
Yeah, well, probably not. He'd probably still be running in a straight line if he was running backwards.
We at least see when the arrow's about to come.
That's a very good point, because once it's launched...
Yeah.
Yeah, he can just step out of the way.
Yeah.
It's a bit like the rolling thing in Prometheus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could just get out of the way, but instead, no, we can just keep running in a straight line forwards.
Look, the Starks aren't that bright, unfortunately.
No.
We expect big things from them, but they're kind of dummies. They're not particularly good at their jobs. Although, finally, getting a little better. The Starks did sort of pull together in that last one, but... I think Rickon was definitely part of the Great Game of Thrones character clearinghouse sale.
Oh, he needed to go. Of all the characters, Rickon was on prices, very...
slashing characters, anyone that hasn't made much of an impact and, doesn't need to be around. Get rid of him.
And it made a lot of sense as far as the story went. Ramsay needed to kill him. He needed to die.
Yeah, and Ramsay wasn't going to give him up, was he?
No.
And at least Sansa knew that. Sansa was like, it's not going to happen. But that battle was beautifully directed. It was very intense, even though it goes really Helm's Deep, of course, with the Deus Ex Machina horses riding in and saving everybody.
Yes, I don't know if I'd mentioned it on the podcast, but I'm sure I'd mentioned it to you previously, that I bet that... what's-his-face, Littlefinger, was going to ride in like Gandalf at the end, and then it happened, and I went, oh, shit, okay.
So the series has become a little bit more predictable in some ways, but at the same time, very, very satisfying when these moments do happen. Like, you want to see them. And it did make me feel like... Do you remember when Two Towers came out and everyone was like, oh, that battle, man, so intense. And I thought, wow, that looks like just a baby's battle compared to this. Like, this was just so full on. And I loved the tactics on display, like when all those shields surrounded them and then the spears...
started pushing them in,
closing them in and everything. It was like, wow, this is really cool. Like, the geography of the battle and the sort of whole plan of it was really clear and, I watched strong and visual. Yeah,
on the HBO streaming, if you just leave the episode going, it goes to an episode of Inside Game of Thrones where they show you how they shot the episode, and they said that, they'd sort of done research and found, evidence and retellings of, battlefield stories where they would say that, the bodies are just piled so high that it's like a wall, and so they use that idea.
Yeah. Love that shot of John sort of emerging from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a sea of bodies. Or even when all the horses are charging towards him in slow motion, he's just standing out there in the middle, and you're just thinking, you are screwed, Jon Snow.
And that was a real shot. That wasn't CGI. That was, he had those horses towards him, and at the last minute they broke away, and he said he was shitting himself.
And they actually put Kit... Why would they put Kit Harington out there for that shot when they could put any dude in a wig?
No, I guess they were just looking at his behind.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say they didn't want to CGI him in because they'd already spent so much money on the rest of the episode.
Yeah, it was pretty full on. The giant got to do brave stand, smashing the door, and then John got to play some rock'em sock'em robots and knock Ramsey's block off. He's punching him in the head again and again and again. And then I
thought when he was punching Ramsey, it started to sound squishier and squishier.
Yeah.
And I thought he was actually like really like smashing. I thought he was pulped, and then they cut back, and he was still just.
So they were going to bring out the smashed Oprah and head prop again.
Then he's bringing his fist up, and there was just going to be chunks of brains falling off it or something.
Which wouldn't have been satisfying enough, would it? And you knew Sansa had to be involved in some way.
Yeah.
Which he was, and I think that was probably the strongest performance I've seen from Sophie Turner. I thought that was the most sort of grounded and in control that I felt Sansa has been. Normally she looks like she's going to cry or do a little wee, but I thought she really owned that. And to get his face eaten by dogs was pretty fun.
Yeah, I was sort of like, because I assumed that the dog sort of like ripped his lower jaw off, but he was still like, I guess you can still kind of scream and make noise without like the lower half of your face.
Would your tongue flap around?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess like would they have taken the tongue, or would they just like have taken the... Oh, I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he sure learnt his lesson. And then we get into this last episode. And last episodes of seasons have usually just been like rearranging the pieces for the next game. Like, usually the big thing is episode 9, and then it gets a little bit quiet again. But it was really epic. It was a fantastic episode.
Yeah,
which advanced a lot of stories in ways that they really have been needing to advance.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd had the day off work, and so I watched it at about 9 o'clock on Monday morning, and then spent the rest of the day in agony because I couldn't discuss it with anybody. I messaged you and I went, you need to message me the second you watch this shit.
Yeah, it was so full on. And of course I love Marjorie.
Marjorie
Tyrell,
yes.
I'm a big fan. I like watching Natalie Dormer in that show, and you knew what was going to happen. And
it was sort of almost like a Ned Stark moment, wasn't it, where you were thinking, they're going to get out. They're going to get out. Something's going to happen.
She's going to get out. I was thinking, like, is she going to push past? Is she going to roll down the stairs as it explodes behind her?
Yeah, I was thinking she's going to get it. Like, there's no, like, okay, maybe they're going to get rid of Loras because they've already kind of fucked up his face, his beautiful, beautiful face, and they've cut off his beautiful hair. He doesn't need to live anymore because he's hideously disfigured now. But Marjorie, you can't kill Marjorie.
Yeah, and they're all pushing her in. And it made me really realise when she died, never forget that cleavage, that, when Jamie in that previous episode rode up the stairs on the white horse and tried to rescue her, and she said no, and we were like, oh, she's got this. She's, taking control. That was her signing her own death warrant. That was a tactical error, which cost her her life.
Yeah, and I guess it'd be naive to think that Cersei has no reason for wanting to save her. Like, she's an obstacle, and there's no way that she'd let her out anyway. And it's definitely in Cersei's best interest to just get rid of that whole bunch. So,
no Queen Marjorie anymore. There was no Walk of Shame. We never got to see a King's Landing strip. It's all over. Red Rover.
Yes, so that was a very... that happened in, like, the first 15 minutes or something?
Yeah.
It was very, very early on. You're like, holy shit, how are they going to top
like
this?
Sound and fury, and Cersei was being totally baller, watching the explosion,
yeah, oh my god, her
wine.
dress. her dress
Yeah.
was unbelievable with like the chain coming across it.
And then that
so
little
good.
bit of quiet as Tommen just jumps out the window was fantastic. And
Yeah, I loved all the music at the start. There wasn't any dialogue for quite a while, and I wish they'd kept it to absolutely no dialogue, because
Yeah.
the only dialogue was like a guy comes in and goes, "Hey, Tommen, it's time to go."
yeah.
And if they'd just kind of cut that out, then that whole opening sequence would have been just so beautiful.
And she's lost her children. Now she is off the chain. She's off the leash.
Yep.
And by the end of it, when she's in that black with the shoulder pauldron, she's totally fucking Darth Vadering it.
Yep.
She's got her stormtroopers marching behind her. She sits down on that throne, and you go, Joffrey was the evil, sadistic one, and then Ramsay was, and now Cersei takes the place as the series' #1 villain.
Yeah, because she's got nothing. She doesn't care about anything anymore. I think even Jamie's that far down the list that he's sort of thinking, oh shit.
He's not going to be able to get in her way, yeah.
No.
And plus, she's just done what he killed the Mad King for. So, yeah, all very messy. And then with Jon, we finally got the confirmation that he is, what's her name?
Lyanna
Lyanna
Stark.
Stark's daughter, son.
Well, debatable.
Yeah,
But,
hard to tell. And all that fur.
Yeah, so he's
And-
Ned's nephew, not his son.
And Daenerys' nephew.
Is he nephew or brother?
Nephew.
Is it?
His father's Rhaegar?
Oh, it's okay. So that's
her brother.
That's her brother. Okay.
Her older brother.
Righto.
And that was confirmed on the HBO website.
Okay.
They had
cool.
a little family tree thing.
All right,
which
that's
shows-
fine. Yeah, I get Aaron and Rhaegar.
No, so
mixed
he
up.
was the Mad King. So
Yeah.
Auntie Daenerys.
Yeah, right.
Auntie Daenerys coming over to Westeros to make a batch of scones.
I hope she brings a plate.
Bring a plate, Auntie Daenerys. John, clean up your castle, you bloody moron. Auntie Daenerys is coming
There's
over
still
for...
bloody brains all in the kennels.
She's coming over to have a look around, and she won't like to see this mess, that's for sure. So yeah, Auntie Daenerys, how's that? So he is got a song of fire and ice just flowing through his bloodstream, this guy,
Interesting.
this character. So do you reckon they'll get it on? Because I thought definitely when they were talking about potential suitors and who she's going to go and maybe have to marry in order to... that's such a foreshadowing line. I mean, Game of Thrones, particularly now, is moving at such a clip that everything is there for a reason.
Yeah. And I mean, it wouldn't be out of, I guess out of the ordinary for an auntie and nephew to marry.
And she's... No, especially in some places. So she's, very clearly...
And because there's no one left, really.
ditching
Like,
what's-his-face in
pretty
order to
much-
go over and,
yeah, and pretty much the only kind of head of the house left that's a man is maybe like Edmure Tully, and she's not going to fucking marry Edmure Tully.
And he's imprisoned again anyway,
Yeah.
didn't they say?
Yeah.
Yeah, so... Yeah. That has to be Jon. King of the North, he is.
He is.
How's that little girl standing up for Jon? Look, this
What
is
a little boss. I want a pop vinyl of her.
Total
little Lady
sort of
Mormont.
misogynistic group of ruffians who
She's got
have
more-
treated women like shit for 6 seasons. And then this little girl, they're like, oh, we'll listen to this little girl because she knows stuff. She's not all hopscotch and crayons, this little girl.
This little baby Mormont has more balls than Jorah ever
She's
had.
like, listen up, you fucking dickheads.
I've only been on this earth for fucking 11 years and I can see shit better than yous, old pricks.
Yous old bearded pricks can't see past you, old bearded pricks. So, yeah, she sorted them out good and proper. Jon is the king of the north, and that was something to have a little bit of a cheer about, right?
There was a lot of, I think it was in the Battle of the Bastards episode, there was a lot of kind of shippy tension between Daenerys and Yara.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was certainly a thing.
Well, any port in a storm.
Yeah, and then,
They both
there's
have
like...
stormy ports.
There's sexual tension between Daenerys and Yara, and then she fucking fucks off Dario Naharis the next minute, and I'm like, ooh,
Could
there we
be.
go.
That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, have a same-sex...
Maybe she'll marry Cersei. Maybe she'll come in and,
Just go, we're both bad bitches.
Sisters.
We can rule this whole place. Maybe if Yara takes over the Iron Islands, she's a high-ranking person, maybe they can just get married.
Maybe
I suppose
everybody can just get married.
Yeah, everyone can just one big. It can just be like, what is it when the Amish
like sister wives.
Like sister wives. Yeah, everyone can be sister wives, and they can just be in one big kind of orgy thing. Like Jon can be married to them, and they can be Yara and Daenerys. Yeah, maybe they might let Edmure in when he like cuts his
lady
hair.
Mormont.
When she comes of age.
When she comes of age. Yeah, well, George R. R. Martin, I remember saying very early on that when they talked about what the ending was going to be, he said, "Oh, look, I don't know, but I feel like it's going to be a long pan across gravestones because everybody's just dead." And what if instead it's a long pan across a giant bed and everybody's just like bouncing around on each other?
Well, the only reason it'll be a big pan of gravestones is because he's taken so long to write the fucking thing that everyone's died of old age.
And of course, the other bit of news, which is huge in terms of advancing everything, is winter finally has come.
Yeah, only took 6 bloody seasons.
I know, but it's like it's here. I couldn't believe it. I was
crazy. I was starting to think it was never going to turn up.
And I didn't know the significance. I saw that white bird, and I was just like, "Oh yeah." And Suzanne
I just thought it was a message raven.
Suzanne said, "Winter is coming. That's what that means. Winter's here." And I was like, "What?" And then it was confirmed.
Yeah.
And so winter's there. Brace yourself. It's going to get pretty cold. But then they cut down to dawn. Oh god, great holiday location. Everybody just hop down there for the winter.
Yeah.
It's bloody beautiful. And think of
Is that such a shame that it's full of boring Dornish people?
Oh,
though?
they're a bit prickly, but I'm sure they'd like to line their pockets as much as anybody else. Like, just think of the
nice
tourist trade.
Yeah.
Think of all the Dawn
Dornish pasties.
Souvenir spoons, Dornish pasties, tea towels with pictures of Oberon on them.
Like some spoons with like, embossing in the little kind of head part.
Yeah, just absolutely fantastic. You go down there for a bit, just sit by the water, and you can't fight all the time. And yes, Daenerys finally got on the friggin' boats and is heading out there to fuck shit up. And she had a whole team there, including the teleporting Varys.
Yeah, he teleported straight out of that boat, didn't he?
He's straight through a wormhole.
Yeah.
And in there. Not a grey wormhole.
No. Ooh,
although.
Poor grey worm.
He's a eunuch. They're both eunuchs.
They are. They can be
they got
like...
plenty to talk about on the ship.
They can be like Team Eunuch.
Compare stubs.
And like, I love this. Saw somebody point out, like, are they just gonna, for that whole journey, just gonna stand there staring wistfully off into the distance?
Do you reckon when he got on the boat they said, tickets please, and he said it's just the stub?
Even though obviously Tommen's death was horrific and very, very sad and everything.
Live without Marjorie. I almost jumped out the window too.
It's reasonable. I think it's reasonable.
I was watching downstairs, jumped out the window.
Yeah.
Lands in the bush, felt a bit silly, laid there for a while, got up, came back inside.
That was a shame. I sent you the link, but all it reminded me of when they just had the camera shot on that open window the whole time, I was thinking, man, this is like kind of like that scene in the IT Crowd where the boss gets a visit from the police and he just goes, oh, and then just opens up the window and just jumps out the window. And then Tommen walked back across and jumped out the window and I went, oh, I feel like shit now. This is the worst thing.
Too soon.
Yeah, because I was laughing and then I was crying and then I laughed a little bit again. Oh.
And then I weed a little bit. Then I jumped out the window again.
I jumped out the window.
So, we've, I think it's been confirmed there is 2 seasons left.
Yeah, short seasons.
But split over 13 episodes. So only 13 to go. And
There's a 7 and a 6, I think.
Yeah, and I imagine that is probably because that same budget is going to be spread over lesser episodes in order to make them very epic.
Yeah, oh god, I'm happy to have less if they're all going to look like movies every time.
Yeah, and those last 2 episodes, just over an hour each, they could have been, I would love to have seen them in the cinema, just paste them together. Would have been a Game of Thrones movie because it really felt like you were watching a film. Yeah,
there has been rumours that, for a long time, that they are going to do the final as like a Game of Thrones movie. Yeah. Which they'd be ridiculous. It'd be ridiculous not to, surely. People would go to the cinema and pay $30 to go and see the last episode of Game of Thrones in the cinema.
You don't watch like the first 70 odd hours and then go, I'm not paying $15 for that. Fuck it. Yeah. Look. What just wonderful TV. It was just incredible. Like, it finished and I was like, what did we do to deserve this? Because, how is this TV? it was like a movie. It's so great, so engrossing. It's a cultural phenomenon. Everybody chats about it and is invested in it. And I just think, it's really exciting. And I think it just goes to show as well that you can never rule it out. Like any show, there are going to be episodes which don't advance in the way that you want. And, there are times when everyone's frustrated with it. And, you think about last season particularly, there were people going, oh, no, I think I'm done with it. I don't know if I'll stick with it. And you would never want to have missed out on what we just got in the last 2 weeks. No. I mean, it was so groundbreaking, really. And the other thing is, I think, obviously, it's going to take its place as one of those memorable historical TV shows.
Yeah.
And it also has made them a huge amount of money. So, I think the other exciting thing about it is that even if it's in 10, 20 years, there'll be more Game of Thrones. There will be.
Yeah, I think there had been talks already. I saw an article on Forbes, so, it's legit, saying that they would be absolutely insane even to not do it pretty much as soon as Game of Thrones is finished, to do a prequel spin-off or, some kind of spin-off in the way that AMC has done Fear the Walking Dead to spin off from The Walking Dead, because they don't have, at the moment, any other massive flagship show. Game of Thrones is, like, their biggest thing. And once they lose that, they've got to come up with something else. And the most logical thing is just more Game of Thrones.
I think that... I hope they don't prequel it, unless they're going to go do, like, a Knights of the Old Republic kind of thing and go well before.
Yeah.
Like, hundreds of years before. And show... like, during the dragon rule, like when dragons are around and all that sort of stuff. I think what I do respect about the show is that because we've seen young Ned and some of those flashbacks and Lyanna and stuff, that it kind of takes out the impetus to mine that as a series. And I think that's good, because I think you go too close with the prequels, you go within that same generation, and you've got no room to move, because you go, these characters,
we've got
everyone who can die... will, because they're not around later on, and everyone else is going to survive. It's just not satisfying. I think moving forward is always best. But it's a big world. Like, it's Westeros. Treat that as a universe, just like you do with Star Wars or whatever. And there's probably lots of stories to tell.
Absolutely.
Beyond those main conflicts. Or if you're doing a prequel, go 2,000 years before or something crazy, and show something really early.
Yeah.
Some early Targaryen stuff.
The other interesting thing with this series is that, people have been complaining for years about the treatment of women and all of that sort of thing during this series, and it has really turned it around this season. And I'd like to know what the shift was, because obviously they're like, well, if they really wanted to have all that stuff, like, people are not going to stop watching. Like, people are going to watch anyway, even if they do all that, like, quite problematic, questionable stuff. But whether this was the show they really wanted to make, like, whether they kind of didn't necessarily want all that other stuff, but there was some force that kind of went, no, we need more boobies, and now they've got more control, and they're going, okay, so this is what we're doing. We don't need, there's no more rape, there's no more boobies, all that sort of stuff.
Booby-wise... and this happened in Orange is the New Black as well. Like, the sex was sort of toned down from previous ones. And when you got full nudity, it was extras.
Yeah.
And Game of Thrones does that a bit more. And I feel that's just the natural progression of the season, where the actors have more power and
but there's also
more negotiating power. Because I don't think anybody really enjoys being semi-clad or nude for these things, because it's...
But there's also there's a definite shift where everyone in power is a woman now. And whether that was just the way it was always going to be, or...
Yeah, I don't know if that's by design or what, but I will say that I think the character arcs, generally speaking, have been really strong. I mean, Daenerys has been spinning her wheels for quite a while, but she had a fantastic character arc in that first season, really. I mean, when you think of when you first see her and how she's under the thumb of her horrible brother, and to what she's become now at the front of the boat, or even just that sort of red dress, long hair Cersei compared to this, like, pixie cut badass Vader Cersei. everybody's kind of going on a journey, or Arya's. I don't know how she got to keep the faces. Maybe she shoved a couple of faces in her pockets when she left.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, that did raise some questions. I was actually talking about this to one of my students. Like, did she swipe a face? Or did she obviously she got taught how to take the faces. So did she kill that girl to take her face? Like, when we see that girl at the start of the episode, is that Arya? Or is that just that girl? And then, like, Arya kills her and takes her face?
I feel like that is Arya when we see her at the beginning, because I think once you know what's happened and you rewatch that, it gives interesting weight to the glance that she has at Jamie. Because, he thinks it's something sort of interesting and romantic interest, but it's probably not. It's a toying with it. So, yeah, I don't know. But, look, well done, Game of Thrones.
Very good season this season. Everything got back on the tracks and was going at full steam ahead, which is very nice.
Yes, very good for us train enthusiasts and tracks and stuff. All right, I think we're done. I think that's it. I think that's all you guys get this week, except for Book Was Better, which is about ants, and I'm sure that'll be great.
It'll be something.
I have seen that. I saw that film in the cinema.
Really?
Yeah. I don't remember anything about it. It just, other than it being very brown.
Yeah, right. I was going through, like, all my old movie tickets that I'd kept over the last, 10 years or whatever, and I saw that movie Robots. I have no memory of seeing Robots.
Early on...
I think it was, like, the old DreamWorks one or something.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, early on, that idea of just CGI animated films really was a novelty. Like, I would have, at the time, been like, I'm going to see everything, because Bug's Life came out that same year, so it was still pretty early on. I think Ice Age is what killed that mentality for me. I think I watched Ice Age because I was like, oh yeah, I've got to see all the animated movies, because this is this wonderful technology and it's amazing, and see it on the big screen. And then I was like, yeah, this is bad. It just isn't a good film. So, and
now there's like 500 of them.
Yeah. They're almost caught up with real time.
Yeah.
They started before Christ. Now they're in about 1977, I think, and then the latest movie. Anyway, we're going to go and,
No more Fuck Yeah Game of Thrones. What do we replace it with? Maybe just more Fuck Yeah Downton Abbey. We'll just go do like one of those minute-by-minute podcasts that people do of every episode.
We could start our own fan fiction next season.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll start writing the what's the kid's name? The heir of Downton, Mary's
George.
Yep. We'll start writing George of Downton.
Yeah, cool.
Set in World War II.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, cool.
Yep. And Lady Mary will still be very sexy because she's been in a chamber.
Yeah. Yes. One of those the. Like oxygen chamber kind of thing, yeah.
You sort of look like one of those Hydra contraptions, like what Captain America was transformed in. Yeah, it'll be one of those.
They'll just freeze her in a Bucky chamber, and the only sign of her aging is she just has like a couple of crow's feet.
Yeah,
and they're going, "Oh, mother, you look so well."
And if anyone mentions it, she just goes nuts. And she talks to the mirror a lot, like an evil queen.
Yes, and it's her she has like a necklace like the Red Woman.
Yes.
And she takes it off.
That didn't go anywhere, did it?
No, not really, no.
That's something for later.
Yeah.
For Ron. All right.
Okay, we'll stop talking about Downton Abbey now.
Okay.
Okay, goodbye.
Downton Abbey! Rules!